Scratch golf bogey, golfer 7 handicap 9 handicap. What does it all mean? The unprofessional golf world is consumed by handicap talk, and if you're not familiar with any of the lingo, you're probably confused by all the talk. So the question is, what is a handicap, and is it worth my time to learn about it? The answer is yes, and it's definitely worth your time. And answering the first part of the question will take a couple of minutes, so stick around. Trust us, it's worth it. So without further ado, we want to welcome you back to the Golf Vault, and we invite you to join us as we explore the world of handicaps.
I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie that he's a 6 handicap of all.
I was an 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8.
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Okay, let's
not act like children.
President Trump, we're going to turn.
Let's not act like children.
What is a handicap? It's a great question, and the answer is simple. A handicap is the benchmark average score for a golfer. Really, it's that simple, but there are different ways to calculate it, different variables that are taken into consideration, different formulas that are used. There's not just one way to calculate a handicap. Different softwares or formulas can produce different results. Different countries employ different methods of calculating handicaps, and it's hard to compare handicaps globally. However, there's no need to worry over all of the complications. We'll go over how you can calculate your handicap later in the video and review all the aspects of such a seemingly confusing term. What we want you to grasp right now is that a handicap is the average score for a golfer, but it is not the traditional average you might be thinking about, such as taking the cumulative score for, say, 20 rounds divided by 20. It's more comparable to taking the average of the best 8 to 10 rounds out of the last 20 and keeping a moving average as you play new rounds. Your handicap will always updating as you play if you record your scores, and it can change for the better or the worse throughout your career on the golf course. So let's get down to what you want to know. How can you calculate your handicap? The traditional way to calculate and compute your handicap is by using a couple of complex formulas and your raw score data. We'll not be going over these formulas because, realistically, no one computes their handicap without software these days. If you're interested in calculating your handicap on paper with the formulas and keeping a detailed record, the internet will have the answers you need. For the majority of you, many softwares, apps, and websites can help you compute your handicap, and almost the entire golf community uses some sort of software to calculate their handicaps. Depending on your location, there are different apps and websites that can help you calculate a handicap. Most serious golfers will use their respective national golf websites to determine where to calculate their handicap. This might sound confusing, so let me elaborate for a second. The WHS is an acronym for the World Handicap System. Before the WHS, almost all countries seriously involved with golf had different ways of calculating handicaps. To eliminate the differences between national handicaps, the USGA and the R&A developed the World Handicap System, which became an industry standard way to compute a player's handicap. Now, to answer your question, where might you find a place to calculate your handicap? The WHS website has an authorized association list for every country involved in the program. Here you'll be able to find your respective national golf website, and from there, you'll find the resources necessary to calculate your handicap. It seems like a lot of work, but remember the benefits. A real handicap allows you to play competitively against anyone, regardless of skill differences. You know how we talked about the authorized association list featured on the WHS website. If you were to look up the United States of America, the USGA would come up as the authorized association for the country. Through the USGA, you will find the GHIN, Golf Handicap Information Network. The GHIN provides players the resources and software to compute and track their handicaps within the United States. The GHIN is an example of what each country aims to provide to their players. If you're in the United States, the GHIN is where you go. If you're not in the United States, then head over to the WHS website to find your country's authorized golf association. You completed the steps to getting a handicap. Now what? You can outplay competitively and fairly across many countries and people as you want, as long as they hold active handicaps. Picture this. Your foursome all have different skill levels, but everyone has active handicaps. Player A has a handicap of 4, B of 6, C of 0, and D of 1. Player C would be what we call a scratch golfer because their handicap is 0. All other players shoot higher than player C, so how could the game be fair? Well, however many points each player is above the lowest handicap is how many strokes they receive. So in our example, player A receives 4 strokes, B 6, C 0, because they are the benchmark lowest for the group, and D gets 1 stroke. Now all players except player C will have a net score, which is their gross score for the round, minus the strokes they receive because of their handicap. This is how handicaps can make the game fair and competitive between players of all different skill levels, and why it's crucial your playing partners get a handicap. There are a few other considerations that should be reviewed with handicaps because we want to make sure you have the full picture. Hole index. Let's assume you're getting 3 strokes in your round based on your handicap. These strokes will be designated to certain holes, so which holes will it be? Well, at the bottom of the scorecard under each hole will be a number. This is the hole index. These numbers range from 1 to 18, or however many holes are in your course. The hole rated 1 is the hardest, and the hole rated 18 is the easiest. If you receive 3 strokes per your handicap, you get these strokes on holes rated 1, 2, and 3 on the index. This is important because let's pretend you're playing match, play, or Stableford against your partners. If you took your strokes on the easiest holes, it would give you an unfair advantage because these holes are already more likely for pure competition. WHS variables. There is an excellent chance that if you go out and get your handicap in 2024, it'll be done through the WHS formula. It's important to note that this formula factors in a maximum score of net double bogey per hole when calculating your handicap. The formulas also factor in course difficulty because all courses are difficulty rated before the scorecards are created. So don't be alarmed if your course is challenging compared to other courses. Your handicap will reflect it. See, that wasn't too difficult, was it? Handicaps can be a lot when you're fresh into golf, but we hope you feel more confident on the topic now. But most importantly, go out there and get yourself a handicap and start playing. If you enjoyed this video or learned something today, smash that like button and make sure to subscribe for more golf content. Thanks for watching the Golf Vault, and we'll see you next time. Happy golfing!